My wife and I got married months ago. Unfortunately, we didn't have the opportunity to go on a honeymoon, but then I planned a trip for us as a couple. I originally was planning on leaving my tween son with his regular babysitter. However, my wife insisted that we leave him with her parents. I agreed, but was hesitant because my son has dietary restrictions due to medical problems, and my in-laws commented on his eating habits as spoiled. I sent him there and gave them a list of what foods he should be fed. On the 4th day of the trip, he video called me and told me he'd been eating only snacks and hadn't eaten a warm meal in days. I was puzzled. I asked if his grandparents didn't cook any of his regular meals on the list, and he said no, they just gave him snacks. I was absolutely livid, especially after I contacted mother-in-law and after she told me she wasn't a personal cook and that it wasn't her fault I spoiled my son. I cut the trip short and went home immediately. My wife was upset, saying that instead of cutting the long-awaited trip short, I should have let the babysitter feed him. We fought and she told me that her parents owed me nothing and that I always ruined things for us. Now I ruined the trip she paid for. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but you've made a serious mistake marrying this woman, and your son will suffer for it in the end. She has no compassion for your son and doesn't fall far from the idiot tree. Get out now. She's horrid. Her family will mistreat your kid every time they can. Concur. They only just got married and she's already making it clear how little she cares about this man's son. And if her parents weren't concerned enough even to feed the poor kid proper meals, and she's defending their atrocious behaviour, why on earth did she even want him to stay with them instead of the babysitter to begin with? I'd start reaching out to divorce lawyers if I were you. Why leave him with the grandparents? To save money on babysitter? Your son is Cinderella to them. It's time to divorce your wife. She told you that her parents owed you nothing after they starved your kid and is more upset about a trip than the fact her parents are neglectful. Her parents and her ruined your trip. Yeah, if you're going to look after a child for more than a day, a warm meal is a bare minimum, and that isn't spoiling. Were Grandma and Grandpa also only eating snacks? I bet they weren't. She cooked for her and her husband but didn't want to feed your kid. If I was looking after someone's kid, I would give them what I cook for myself or just cook a bit extra. Also, the audacity. You wanted the babysitter, she's the one who begged you to go to her parents, then she says her parents owe you nothing. Mother-in-law's reaction is despicable. Not a personal cook is such a horrible way to go about feeding a literal child. So snappy and rude. Everyone's the idiot here. If your son has such a restricted diet, then you should have left them with someone who you know would listen to the diet or make sure those meals were pre-made for your son. Obviously, your in-laws should also have put in a little more effort on their part for your child, but it seems like they previously made it clear they would not. So why did you agree to leave him with them again? If his medical needs are not that serious, then you are overreacting. My girlfriend is crazy about skiing. She used to compete in free-riding competitions. We met in Colorado where she was always skiing in the winter. She had retired from competing but still would ski as much as possible. 3 years ago, I told her I had to move for work, and if she didn't come with me, we would have to break up because I'm pretty sure my location change was permanent. She wasn't happy about it, but she moved with me. But now all our vacation time is spent skiing. I don't like it, but I asked her to move, so I tolerate it. Recently, we took 2 weeks off to go skiing in Banff in British Columbia. The thing that bothers me is that she prioritizes skiing over my comfort. We leave so early, around 5 or 6 a.m., so she can hit the slopes first thing. It takes 1 or 2 hours to drive there, and she skis the entire day. I want to get up at a more normal time and not ski until the very last moment. I like skiing too, but nowhere near as much as her. On Saturday, we went up to the slopes and she was skiing the whole day, didn't even bother to eat, she just packed a few energy bars. Then she texted and said she was going to find this hard-to-find backcountry route at the top of one of the lifts. It was nearing the end of the day and I was angry and I wanted to go home. I told her to get back down immediately and she said she'd be down in 30 minutes. I was in a bad mood because I had to eat by myself because she didn't want to take away from skiing time. I sent her a text message saying if she wasn't down immediately, I was leaving without her and she could find her own way back. I decided to wait by the car and got a text 10 minutes later saying she was hurt. I went to meet the ski patrol and she'd busted her knee. She was angry at me, saying it was my fault she was hurt because she read my text and felt rushed and did the backcountry run rushed and went fast to get down quicker. In my defense, it's probably a double black, so I think she would have gotten her anyway, but according to her, the run wasn't hard, and she would have done it if I didn't send her that text. We aren't sure how serious her knee injury is, but she can't walk. She's crying because it means she might not be able to ski to the same level anymore, and she refuses to talk to me about it. Am I the idiot? She prioritizes you year-round over herself. This woman loves you enough to put aside her passion for you, asking only for a few times a year to enjoy what she loves. Instead, you make these times as difficult as possible for her, then stress her to the point of injury. While she's responsible for herself while on the slope, your "I'm leaving immediately" comment contributed. You are the idiot. Do you even like your girlfriend? And his defense is, she probably would have gotten injured anyway. Why do you have to make the ski trips together? If you don't enjoy it, why can't this be something you don't join in for? Without you, she can enjoy herself unencumbered. Because he's afraid she won't come back. Notice everything is an ultimatum for him. Move or I will break up with you. Come down or I will leave you. Inside, he's afraid she'll take him up on it. I do hope she realizes this and takes it to heart when she gets healed up. Yeah, no compromise, controlling, self-centered, no sympathy. There is absolutely nothing in your whole story that doesn't scream entitled selfish idiot. She chose you over her passion for skiing, and you can't even put her first for a few weeks a year to let her enjoy it. You issue an ultimatum because she dares to ask for an extra 20 minutes to enjoy something that you seem determined to ruin for her. I hope to God she dumps your selfish butt and her knee is okay. Maybe she'll meet a hot physio and they can ski off into the sunset together. I, 25 female, am getting married to my fiancé, 23 male, in a few months. My sister, 31, and her husband, 31, have 2 sons, Callan, who's a young teen, and Vincent, a tween. My sister and her husband are both great parents and try their best to teach their kids empathy and responsibility. So far, Callan is a kind young man. He still makes mistakes and dumb decisions, but he's a good boy. Unfortunately, Vincent is not. He's been a bully since kindergarten and is only getting worse. He just started seeing a therapist. His parents have tried all forms of punishment and teaching without hurting him, no hitting or yelling, but nothing seems to work. They've tried taking away his phone, having conversations, etc. About a year ago, Callum was introduced to a new friend through one of his friends. The new friend is transgender. Callum and his other friends have all become really close to this boy. They bond over sports. This boy has also been to some local events for LGBT youth and has a few trans friends, one of them being a girl who we'll call Rose. One day, Callan and his friends were introduced to Rose. Callan instantly had a crush and asked her out shortly after meeting her. 6 months later, they're officially dating. Callan has dated a few girls in the past, all were cisgender. However, this is his longest relationship so far. My sister and her husband have done everything they can to make Rose feel comfortable. They just want Callan to be happy. Each invite, including the children, had a +1 when making the guest list. Callan wants to bring Rose. A few weeks ago, Rose started receiving mean messages from an anonymous account on Instagram. This was happening for a few days, and when Rose told Callan about it, he asked to see the messages and noticed it was similar to how his brother types. So he told his parents about it. They took Vincent's phone and saw that he was the one sending the messages. He's now banned from the phone permanently and has been given a flip phone. After my sister told me about this, my fiancé and I talked and agreed we didn't want Vincent at our wedding unless he showcased improvements in behaviour. We talked to my sister and her husband and we all agreed we'd make a contract for Vincent to approve his behaviour, and since have made a contract on how he will behave in the next few months and how he will behave at my wedding, with consequences in place if he violated rules. Our parents aren't happy about this. When they heard about it, they said that Vincent's family and stuff about blood is thicker than water, and suggested we should buy Rose jewellery and makeup to make up for what happened. They said that excluding Vincent from the wedding would be unfair, and it could hurt his relationship with the cousins that like him. I have other siblings who have kids. Am I the idiot? Why was a tween bully with behavioural issues allowed unfettered access to the internet in the first place? I feel for your sis and brother-in-law, but I don't think a contract for your wedding is going to be the catalyst for change. He probably doesn't care about your wedding. You're not the idiot, though. Your parents are. Also, she claimed they tried taking his phone away. What kind of crap is that? It sounds like they took it for a few days and then gave it back. Pathetic. I'm really skeptical about their punishments. I personally wouldn't even bother with the contract and would just say he's not welcome. He's at an age where he's fully conscious of his actions and he needs to learn they have consequences. That's what I was thinking. Most tween boys couldn't care less about weddings, and is anyone actually going to exclude him? Then what? Are one of these parents going to stay home with the kid? What's the lesson here and how does it apply to Rose and his behaviour? The kid is a bully. Missing a wedding teaches nothing. Take away something that would actually be fun. This seems like a reward. You are the idiot. Do people even read this story? It's unreasonable to dictate how other parents treat their children for months to earn an invitation to a wedding. It's absurd to try to dictate how the parents punish their child if the child acts up. Really, it is unreasonable to treat a kid like a criminal and not a kid. The punishment they implemented, flip phone instead of a smartphone, and an explanation of what the kid did was wrong is a totally reasonable way to react to this. This child isn't even in middle school and you want him to sign a contract? What nonsense. I, 24 female, live with my girlfriend, 25, and a roommate, 23 female. We share a 2-bedroom apartment and have lived together for 2 years now. Up until now, we've gotten along pretty well. My roommate has an elderly cat. The cat is honestly kind of mean. She doesn't like my girlfriend or me and will run away if we try to pet her or pick her up, so we just avoid each other. My roommate asked if we had cats before moving in because she said her cat doesn't like other cats. We didn't have any pets at the time, so it worked out. However, we did tell her that we might want one someday, to which she said we would have to revisit the issue if it came up. Well, my girlfriend and I have gotten to a place where we really want our own pet. We saw a kitten at the shelter and fell in love with him. We got the okay from our landlord and brought him home last week. His name is Banana Pudding. Our roommate is furious with us. She told us that we are aware that her cat doesn't like other cats. I told her honestly that it was unfair for us to tiptoe around her cat and that we were allowed to have our own pets as long as the landlord was okay with it, which he is. She couldn't expect us to never get a pet or to cater to her cat's needs 24/7. The conversation ended there. Unfortunately, things have escalated because her cat hisses and swats at Banana Pudding just for existing. She is honestly pretty aggressive, which is a big issue in my opinion. Our kitten is very friendly and sweet and causes no problems. We asked our roommate to keep her cat in her bedroom since she's elderly and aggressive. She refused and hasn't been speaking to us. She says we're huge idiots and even got some mutual friends to take her side. If her cat is so aggressive and uncomfortable, it's her responsibility to live alone. It's gotten so bad that my girlfriend is crying and considering taking the kitten back to the shelter. Here I am trying to get an outside perspective because I don't know what to think now. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You can't just show up with a kitten and be all, your cat has to stay in your room now. What kind of narcissism is this? The older cat was there first and your roommate warned you that he didn't like other cats. Instead of having any conversation, you just brought home a kitten and now expect an elderly cat to be confined to one room for the rest of his life. You are most indeed the idiots here. That cat deserves to live out his life in peace, and if you want to keep your kitten, you better go find somewhere else to live. Your roommate has every right to be angry, and you are out of line. Also, you are an idiot for not properly introducing the kitten to another cat, and vice versa, which could be a large part of the problem. And the spontaneous adoption, they sound so immature. The older cat is not mean just because it doesn't like to be picked up or petted by you. It's a pet with its own preferences, which is completely normal. You're not a good pet owner. His name is Banana Pudding. It sounds like you wanted a cuddly toy because it's cute. Both cats are living beings with emotions and territory. This place is their home, which you have turned into a place of stress and danger for both of them. Oh, and when Banana Pudding loses an eye, you have no one to blame for yourself since you put that poor kitten in that situation. Same with the elderly cat. It deserves to roam too. Update. My roommate and I have talked. I apologized to her for being selfish and ignorant and for putting her cat in an uncomfortable situation. She forgave me and said she'd be happy to help to do a proper introduction between the kitties. She said that if we do things slowly and carefully, her cat might be able to accept Banana Pudding. For now, our kitten will be staying in our room for the introduction process. She also taught me a little about cat body language, And guys, her cat came and sat in my lap. She even purred. My roommate is a very kind and forgiving person, and I'm very thankful that she chose to forgive me after I was such a huge idiot to her. I think things are going to work out. Thanks everyone for your advice and criticism. I, 23 female, went shopping a few days ago and my fiancé wasn't supposed to be there, but he kept insisting we had things to talk about, so he showed up. When I was going to pay for my items, he gave me his card and told me that he would take care of it from now on and I shouldn't spend my dad's money anymore. Things are rocky between my fiancé and dad, which is why I think he said it, but the entire thing rubbed me the wrong way. I pushed his hand away and told him I didn't need him to pay for my things, but he ignored me and paid anyway. I was mad, so I asked him what he was doing and told him to stop being an idiot. He told me I was welcome and to stop making a scene. I kept bringing it up and telling him he was being an idiot, so now he's annoyed at me and saying things like, I need to get used to not living under my dad's thumb anymore. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Hate to break it to you, but your fiancé thinks of you as a possession, not a person. He wants to ensure you know that you belong to him, not your father. If you don't like that feeling, try paying for your own things occasionally. I encourage you to seek financial independence. Are you sure you want to be engaged to a guy who needs to be right and in charge, to the point that his power plays steamroll right over you? I find it disturbing that he said he would take care of it from now on. Does he expect you to be totally financially dependent on him and unable to take care of yourself, so you can never leave? Is he trying to isolate you from your family? Red flags. Yeah, your fiancé sounds overbearing and controlling. Why is he insisting on joining you when you said you wanted to shop alone? And heads up, financial control and abuse are a real thing. Make sure you are financially secure on your own in this relationship so you aren't relying on him or your dad. Good luck.